Okay, this is the big limestone quarry up here at today's Ruffner Mountain Nature Preserve. But back 120 plus years ago, this was known as the Gate City Limestone Quarry. And it was originally operated by Birmingham Mining and Manufacturing Company. And then what had been able to gather, it was then taken over by McDonald and Company in the early 1900s. And all of this limestone was used as a flux, if you want to say an ingredient for the blast furnaces to make pig iron. But it's over 100 feet high up there to the top. In many areas it's 150 plus, 200 plus. And this was a huge quarry on top of the mountain. And there's two more smaller quarries further back to the southwest. But this was an operation for many, many years. And there's old pictures where they had tram cart rails lined up in kind of like a fan. And they would be, once the limestone was blown down using charges such as dynamite and such, they would load the limestone onto open carts that were, all these little rails were situated in a fan-like area all the way around, so it made it easier for the limestone workers to load these cars. And then they were brought out into a central tramway line. They were lined up, maybe 5 to 7 limestone cars on a little tramway rail, and there was a dinky locomotive that pulled the limestone in the mine cars or the quarry cars down to where there would be a central crushing system. But back in the day, early 1890s, Birmingham Mining and Manufacturing Company actually had a small rail line that went around the mountain, and they had a huge wooden trestle over by today what is called Red Gap Branch, and it curved around the mountain and went down the mountain on the south side and joined up with the Southern Railway and Georgia Pacific lines. And some of the limestone would be taken out to the Trussville furnace. But and then that later changed to them having a limestone crusher and a whole operation on the other side of the mountain, to where the limestone would be sent down in a manner of like chutes, and they had a limestone crusher there. Then it would just be dumped into waiting rail cars. Mostly it was the Birmingham Mineral Railroad, but any railroad, they had a siding that they could get other railroad companies' cars over there to fill up the cars with limestone to be taken to the furnace. But this is the remains of the quarry, and can't really see too much because it's pretty foggy up here. But anyway, this is just one of 3, but this is the biggest one. And this stayed in operation for many, many years into the early 1900s. So, all right. Okay, this is the actual entrance and exit of the Limestone Quarry tramway line. And this is the central point where the dinky locomotives and other locomotives, I guess, of the Birmingham Mining and Manufacturing Company, this is their entrance into the quarry. And this is where the tramway line started, going around the mountain. And so it just continues on around to the left, and the path, the trail will be on the tramway bed. and it would curve around the mountain, and then later on, you know, they dismantled the trestle and set up a you know, a whole limestone crusher operation. So, but this is the route the tramway line took right here. So, all right, okay, moving on down the tramway path. The limestone quarry is back this way, and up here and all that shrouded in fog and mist are two other quarries that were just to the southwest of the big quarry, and they're basically pretty much on top of the mountain. So, but the tramway bed keeps heading on around, and you can see back 120, 140 years ago, basically, or thereabouts, they had to cut all this out to make a level, pretty much level rail bed, tramway bed for the limestone coming out of the quarry. But anyway, it continues on down here, and I'll video some more of that. Okay, moving down the tramway bed slash path, and this is just a long section on the north side of the mountain. This was also cut out for possible limestone that was here, and or for you know, to use the stones for other building foundations and supports and whatnot. So it's hard to really say, but just this whole area going back probably about another 100 yards or more is just a cut right off the north side of the mountain. So, okay, and the tramway bed keeps going this way slash the trail. Okay, this is looking back to the northeast. See the trail, and this is where the tramway line to the quarry ended right up through all that under overgrowth right there, and dense overgrowth. It ended right there, and that's where the tipple and everything started for the limestone crusher. They had a big gyratory limestone crusher, and they had a kind of like a chute system going down the side of the mountain to where the crushed limestone would be loaded into waiting rail cars of different railroads to be taken to a furnace. But the original railroad slash tramway actually curved around to the left here, around this knoll right here, and the remains of the rail cutter back there, and the trestle is long gone, of course, and so are the supports, but you can see the berm for where the trestle started and went over the steep ravine, headed for what is today Norfolk Southern's, and it was then Southern's Norris rail yards. But there's a water cistern up here. I thought I'd just video. But this is the path that the trail that leads off the tramway line. So, okay. Okay, this is the water cistern, a squared water cistern right here, and they had these up here at Ruffner at all the mine sites back then, because everything was steam operated with coal, so you got to have water to help produce the steam to power the equipment. But the tramway bed for the limestone crushers right down through that dense thicket of woods, and the railroad cut is right down here. But how all this was set up and everything, never have been able to find out. still keep searching, but many people, see this walking the trail, and of course they don't have anything historical information listed up here. But this is this was a water cistern for the most likely for the steam operated sections of the limestone crusher and tipple. So, okay, looking down below here, this is the rail cut on the extreme end of the mountain, and so it's a pretty deep cut, and this is where the steam locomotives would have passed through, coming out of the quarry and returning to the quarry. The quarry would be back to the northeast, and it would have connected up with the tramway line, but this was the actual Limestone Quarry railroad line right here. And the trestle would have started just on the opposite side right there of the mountain right there. But I'll get down there and take some more videos and some pictures. But anyway, just a little piece of forgotten history right here on the mountain. So, okay, this is the bottom inside the rail cut, and that's kind of looking back towards the limestone tramway line. And this cut right here, it's a pretty deep cut, and headed straight out towards the wooden trestle right here. And let's see. Okay. Okay, and this would have been this right here would have been the berm, the rail berm right here that would have began the wooden trestle. And it's a deep ravine, and then the trestle extended over about 300 feet to the other side. And it carried on around to the south side of the mountain down a gentle grade. And like I said, it met up with the Georgia Pacific Railroad, which became the Southern Railroad, and what is today's Norris Yards, rail yards. So, but this is where the trestle would have started, right here, right where this rail berm is. So, but you look back, and that is that's the rail cut right there, and this was the original rail line coming out of the limestone quarry back in the late 1880s all the way up into the 1890s. So, okay, this is just a little side note right here. The rail bed for the limestone quarry is right there. The trestle would have begun right here, extending across the deep ravine to the other side. But there were a lot of early drift mining operations up here for the iron ore, and right here they had a drift mine that went actually underneath the rail bed. And this is probably late 1870s when this was in operation. These were called Irondale Gate City mines, and they had a little tramway line that took them out to a rough loading tipple, crude loading tipple for the railroads down below. Because that right there down below is the Red Gap branch. And railroads today still use this. This is a main entrance and exit into Birmingham by rail. And okay, this is looking back up into the deep ravine at the bottom. Way up top there, that would have been the beginning of the railroad trestle, and it was a wooden railroad trestle. And this was about a good 60, 70 feet high, extended for about 300 plus feet over to the other side. And you can see how steep that is right there. That's just straight up about a good 60 feet. and the trestle ended right over there, and the rail line continued going around on a gentle down angle down the south side of the mountain. But you can see why they needed a trestle in the early days, because this is a steep ravine, and all the early railroads and today's railroad use this. Right down below, covered in kudzu, is Birmingham Mineral Railroad's Gate City branch line, and then you've got the other active rail lines over there. But there's only a partial picture of this trestle. Must have been pretty impressive back in the day, but when they dismantled this, I have no idea. So, but the other whole series of drift mines up there, they're all over the place. These were called the Howard mines, and hard to say how long they stayed in operation, but this was some of the first mining operations done in present day Ruffner Mountain. So, okay. Okay, all the way up over there, that is where the trestle began coming out of the quarry. 300 plus feet for sure, height of maybe 60 feet plus, wooden trestle, came straight across. And this is the other side, on the southeast side, and you see how steep that ravine is, how deep it is. The old Howard mines are all up through here. You know, they're all closed, but you know, you can look in a couple of them. But they extend up both sides of the deep ravine up there. And their tramway line was right down here. It went up under the trestle down to a crude loading platform back in the day, back in probably the late 1870s. And this was some of the first mining that was done here. So, and this is this is what's left of the rail bed. Right here, it'll start to curve around, and then it just disappears because they did so much chert mining for chert stripping, but it would have gone around the mountain and just gone down a gentle grade right down to the Georgia Pacific and Southern Railroad, and later the Southern Railways. And read where some of this limestone, or maybe a bulk of it, was sent out to the Trussville furnace, and for use in the furnace out there. But the later limestone crusher and tipple was way over there. So this was dismantled, maybe the early 1900s. It was dismantled, and this little short rail line was abandoned. So anyway, well, that's pretty much it for the little forgotten piece of history of the Gate City Limestone Quarries, and the little tramway lines and the rail line that operated here so long ago. So, okay.